I've helped enough people with their deadlifts. So how do I take the platform that we have at Barbell Shrugged and change the words from making you stronger to, and the vision to being like just pure strength coaches, to how do we take this platform and create as much impact as possible and meet the people that are really the most trusted sources in the pharmacists in those sections and educate them on why the answer isn't eliminating doctors and eliminating medicine, but how do we combine fitness and medicine so that maybe we can go from 100% medicine and 0% fitness to maybe 50-50, and how much of a win that would be.
At Active Life, we believe that the healthcare clinic of the future is the gym.
Everybody starts with the best case scenario in mind.
Never sell anything to anybody who is not in the market for what you have.
The only reason we work out is to create the opportunity to recover.
And the healthcare provider of the future is the coach.
And this is why you guys need to get paid well, because what you're doing is really, really hard work.
Anders Varner, welcome back to the Active Life Podcast, my friend.
How we doing?
We're doing well.
You know that show that we did like 2 years ago, I still get hit up about that show.
Which, are you talking about the one that we did that you were on with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, people love that show.
That was like the first time I ever laid out the entire thing, and it hit like the perfect time because I was doing a talk or multiple talks at Equinox out in San Diego. It was like the perfect time to just put the whole thing together and make it happen. But I definitely, people still hit me up about it. It's fantastic.
Well, you know what was cool about it, for me at least, was you were extremely honest about what your ambitions were. And they weren't just like, not that there's anything wrong with being podcast host, but you weren't just looking to be Anders Varner, Barbell Shrugged, like that's me. Yeah, I'm the guy. You had bigger things that you wanted to do, and there's substance behind you. And I think that in today's world, there's a lot of talk, but there's not a lot of substance.
Yeah, connecting with I think that's probably one of the things that's missing the most in what we do, is just the ability to connect with people. Like, so much information is digested and content is created inside these windows that doesn't actually allow for connection. And if you can figure out a way to have some sort of authentic vision for your life and want to truly help people, and it comes out in your voice, you're doing that like subconscious communication, like where you change the frequency of the way people feel. And I think that that's probably what is truly missing the most as people scroll through their phones or they're watching TV or whatever it is. And then you hear somebody's voice that's like, not like begging, but is like truly saying like, I want to help you. And I want this to be a big thing. And not only do I want to help you, but I want you to take this message and go help other people as well. Yeah, I think that I would like to think that is the thing that comes out when I talk, and that I want people to know that I really want it to matter.
I think it's partly that. I think the other part of it is where you've been. You know, I think last time you talked about, 14 years that you were in it, or 16 years. It was one of those two numbers. I don't remember exactly. But I was reminiscing with Stu Brower earlier this week. I don't know if you know Stu.
Yeah.
We were talking about
he's sort of local to me.
Yeah, that's true.
In North Carolina.
That's true.
Yeah.
But we were talking about how like ridiculous things that we've seen in commercial gyms. And I forgot about those things. And I forgot that people who come up today in CrossFit gyms, Orange Theories, Fit Body Boot Camps, and any of these businesses that actually have any sort of community in them, the things that you used to see in commercial gyms, that doesn't happen anymore. What did you say? Did you say something?
Oh no, I just said yeah. No, you're good.
We were talking about. I'm sure you have no memories like this in commercial gyms, but like I remember my ex-boss at the first gym I ever worked at put up a one-way mirror so that he could bang random chicks in his office and see if his wife and kid were going to walk in.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fitness, bro.
I never had one of those.
No, well, I mean, look, I don't condone it, right? I'm not into it.
Totally.
But it was like, oh yeah, that's what happens here. And then I remember selling a bag of steroids from underneath the front desk. We didn't sell gym bags. And this guy walks in, he's like, hey, I'm here to buy a gym bag. I'm like, we don't sell gym bags. He's like, there's a gym bag under the front desk for me at $700. And I was like, oh, okay. I looked down. I'm like, yeah, there is a gym bag down there. Oh, that's weird.
Never noticed this.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I actually never did the commercial gym setup. I've never really been a member. 6 months, maybe. I've been a member at a commercial gym in my whole life.
Where did you meet Cena? You didn't meet Cena at a CrossFit gym, did you?
My gym, but that was a CrossFit gym.
I didn't know he walked into your gym.
Yeah, he walked into my gym and then became training partners, investor, whatever you want to call it. He outfitted our gym and made it. Yeah, he called the main line.
I didn't know that.
I'm here.
The whole time I'm picturing you walking around like a big World Gym or Gold's Gym with like a big belt on, and Cena walks over with like tights and a stringy tank top. That's how I thought it happened.
No, he called the main gym phone. We somehow actually picked up because we normally don't pick that phone up because it's all telemarketers.
Right.
And yeah, showed up and there it was.
Well, you picked it up twice, and once you ended up talking to John Cena, the other time you ended up on stage at a rock concert.
Right. Well, that was the weekend after I sold the gym when we got to go backstage to the Dierks Bentley concert and had the big Sky Full of Lighters moment where I was like desperately searching for who the hell I was supposed to be and what it all meant and why was I working so hard towards this thing that I didn't understand. It was like, I'm supposed to be that singer that's allowed to go inspire all these people to live stronger, healthier lives.
So how have your voice lessons been coming?
A little deeper, a little raspier. It's been finely tuned to cut through loud rap music in gyms while people are dropping barbells and still be heard crystal clear.
Perfect. So I would love to dive into the mindset of Anders Varner because you're a guy who, by all accounts, right, had what most people want, living in Southern California, successful gym, and then, okay, I'm not going to run the gym anymore, but I'm going to be the host of the biggest podcast in health and fitness. Okay, still doing that, which is awesome, right? The Barbell Shrugged Podcast. But like you made radical moves. You moved from California to North Carolina. You're working on getting products out. Talk to me about it. Like where does this come from? From I know the way back story with the movement stuff and all that. Like where does it come from?
Man, I think that as cliche as it is, I was really like this lost soul until I got married and then had a kid, even though I probably never knew that was something that would be so important to me. I was totally cool being the cool guy that owned the gym, that trained with the celebrity people and drove a golf cart around town with a surfboard on top of it and never had a shirt on. I was totally cool with that guy until you realize you don't want to be that guy in like 15 more years when you're just the old guy without a shirt on. Yeah. And
when the girls stop thinking it's like, cool and start thinking it's creepy.
Exactly. So I rode that train until I met my wife. And then I realized, okay, there's got to be more to this. I left the selling the gym part was really I knew really, I shouldn't say early on, but I knew earlier than I acted on it that I was ready to be done with CrossFit specific stuff, that there was so much more to it and that I wanted to create my own brand of fitness. When I say brand, like I just wanted to create my own methodology. One of my favorite parts about CrossFit was that it had its own methodology. And that if you ask somebody, maybe not now, but somebody back in the day, what is this? They'd tell you, CrossFit's this functional movements done at high intensity, constantly varied functional movements done at high ends. Yeah, that whole thing. It was so simple. It was so easy. So why can't I create some simple, easy definition that's more authentic to me? Because once I got out of the competitive space, doing all that high intensity stuff and doing all those crazy movements and doing it for time, and it just wears on you. It beats the crap out of you. It's not a sustainable model in my eyes as a way that people can progress through their 30s into their 40s. And Jesus, 50 years old doing CrossFit that's why there's probably 1% of that population that is actually following that model. It's just not sustainable. And after you compete for 4 years and go to regionals, blah blah blah, it's like you realize how unsustainable that is. Your body is going through the ringer every day. And as that definition stopped connecting with me, it became really important to connect with like whatever the next message is, which I didn't know. And at the same time, I'm getting married. I'm having my first child. I'm realizing that I need a completely different team around me. Barbell Shrugged happens. We've got no need to be in any specific location for any real reason. And the move across the country was the greatest thing that has ever, like North Carolina, my neighborhood, where I live, the people around, it's so awesome. This whole thing, the suburbs are like a system built for families with like amenities and parks and like the suburbs are like a business just for families. They put the grocery store right where everyone can get to it. I had no idea any of this stuff even existed. When you're in SoCal, it just doesn't work. But it's just been like a series of really finding out like, what do I need to ensure that I can continue chasing this awesome dream and have like my wife and kid come along with me on this awesome journey. And the mindset behind all of really everything that I do now, like I feel like I created my own little superhero. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, I call myself the Diesel Dad. It's like, because I'm just the most regular dad, and I want to be that. Like I do diapers and I do potty training and I make somewhat healthy meals that are also palatable. So they have chicken nuggets. Like I do the most basic dad life things, and I'm so happy doing all of those things. But I also have this radical gym in my garage, and I will front squat 275 as the neighbor walks by, and like at the top of each rep, drop an F-bomb. Like I just have this one piece of me that is just way more jacked than all the other dads in town.
I like it.
And
the cool thing about calling yourself the Diesel Dad, by the way, is it becomes the narrative. And like you can't all of a sudden not like, I mean, you can change your mind, but if you decide that you're the Diesel Dad, you can't be the Diesel Dad and then not work out. You can't be the Diesel Dad and then not change diapers. Like you got to do those things.
I think if there's people out there that like struggle with fatherhood or struggle with marriage, it's because they're fighting against something. Like maybe they married the wrong person. Maybe they really didn't want to be a dad and got pushed into the situation. But for the most part, like all of the things, and this has been probably a theme of everything in life, right? Like the thing you're the most afraid of as you're going into these big life-changing ventures turns out to be the thing that is the most rewarding. Mm-hmm. Like I was terrified that I'd have a wife at some point because then I'd be like, I don't need to be married. I can just be single and focus on me. But as you lose that selfishness and you have to think about other people, that becomes the most rewarding thing. And then you bring a kid in this world and you're like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to ever be able to focus on me at all. And then you go, oh, it's better that I'm focusing less on me and worrying about raising somebody else and having to think about values and the culture of our house and how I talk to my wife and all of these things. Like it makes you such a better person. And the reason it's so terrifying that you don't know about before you have the kids is because you know you're going to lose all of that selfishness and then have to fill it with selflessness and being a better person.
Let's stay here for a second. I love the thing that you just said that resonated most with me is when you have kids, you have to start considering the culture of the house. Right. And I'd love to know what you mean by that. And then we can get into when that really starts to matter, because I think for me at least, and I wonder if you would agree, I believe the culture of the house actually matters well before the kid gets there, but most of us aren't wise enough to see it until it's right in front of our eyes. Speaking for myself, right? Like,
yeah.
So I'm curious to what you mean by the culture of the house.
I think it's just an unwritten standard of expectations to the like quality and level at which you play whatever game that is. It's like the way we eat. Do I want her eating chicken nuggets every meal? Definitely not. But I also need her to eat protein, and it needs to be palatable. So we kind of deal with chicken nuggets. But like the way that you sit at the table or the way that I talk to my wife, like that develops communication habits. The way that we say, I'm not really good at reprimanding her in a way that I'm like, you're in trouble. But if she says, I can't do it, I immediately stop her. And I say, we don't say I can't do that. All we have to do is like, just keep trying and it'll be easy. Or we'll be at the park and she'll, Daddy, will you help me? And I go, no, I'm not helping you, because if I help you, you won't learn how to do something.
Right.
So I'm definitely not going to help you. I'm not going to pick you up. I'm not going to help you do these minute, like easy to do things that I know you can do. But also on like the higher level, and this just randomly happened, and it's also so cool that this happened. Our neighborhood just put up this book share where you just leave a book, grab a book. And I opened it up for the first time, and The Alchemist was in there, which is like the greatest. Yeah, it's amazing, right? It's 150 pages. So instead,
big print, small pages. That's the first book I ever read cover to cover.
Oh, amazing. It's almost like a book you should go back to every year to just all the one-liners in there that just go, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. But I also talk to her all the time, just in conversation about working hard, smiling, being a happy person, making sure that she recognizes that when she smiles, other people smile back, how she makes people feel when she enters the room. Does she know what I'm talking about? Probably not. But I also just started reading her The Alchemist, not because I want her to understand
how old is
the
she?
hero's journey. 2 years and 3 months.
Right.
Not because I really care that she comprehends the book, but I think culture is just that standard of conversation that you have. And there's an expectation that you will go find your personal legend and go chase your dreams. And it's going to be scary. And along the way, someone's going to kick you, and it's going to be hard, and you're going to get robbed, and you're going to go do what happens to all of us when we stick our necks out there to go try to be great at something. But tomorrow you're going to wake up and we all just start back over and try to be great again. And does she understand any of that right now? Absolutely not. But one day she will. And even if she doesn't fully comprehend it, she won't know that the other story exists where you just get told to do what you're going to do. And you sit in the box all day. And that to me, that story just will never, she won't understand it.
Well, she doesn't
and
need
I feel
to
like that
understand
would
it.
be the,
I mean, how,
yeah.
what is like 85% of what we do is subconscious? So,
yeah,
so
something,
she doesn't need to understand it. It just needs to become, you know?
Yeah.
How much of that kind of responsibility do you feel in your work? And what I mean by that is, for me at least, I want my kids to grow up and think dad did valuable stuff. It was useful. It wasn't just profitable. It was useful. And it was profitable, and he worked hard and he worked fair and he was here for us. How much of what you do in work permeates into the culture of your house?
100%. I mean, it's one of the, I mean, I guess it can be fitness, it could be business, it could be anything really, but I want her to know that I work really hard and I'm also a great dad. Like, I want her to know that it's like, this is always a fun one to talk about, but like, I don't really think that I have many friends, in that I don't find myself to be somebody that's capable of having friends for many reasons. But one of those reasons is that the people that I'm friends with are dragon slayers. And I connect with people that like slaying the same dragon that I like to slay. And that dragon is being a good husband, being a good father, running a great business, and being in great shape. Those are my 4 dragons. And I don't really have time for other dragons. So everybody that I am really close with, it's like inner circle. And then way down there is level 2 of that circle.
Yeah.
And inside that inner circle, you're either filling the role of wife, next of kin, business, or training partner. But to get into those 4 roles it's pretty tough.
Yeah. Dude, I had Michael Cashew.
Yeah.
I talk about, man, it's like, you would think I'm like dating the guy. I've been talking about him on the show a lot lately. Mike, if you're listening, coffee.
He's got wisdom.
He does.
Yeah.
But so I called him one time. I'm like, dude, I don't know how to make friends. I legitimately don't know. And he's great at it. I'm like, I don't understand how to make friends. I struggle with it because, when I go to I mean, your daughter is still a little bit younger than mine, but when we go to stuff like daddy-daughter dance, I'm there because I want to be there. And when other fathers come over and they're like, oh, like how annoying is this? I'm like, why'd you have a kid, man? Like what? Like you don't need to come talk to me. I'm not interested in that. When I go to watch my daughter play soccer, and when I say play soccer, I mean, for those watching the video, play soccer,
right.
Other parents will just start up conversation. Like, it's cool that you want to be social, but like, I came here to enjoy my kid enjoying herself.
Yeah.
And we can talk after while they're on the playground. So it's difficult. I relate to that very much. I have the people in my life who I would hope to keep in my life forever. And then the other people who I would welcome in, I just don't know exactly where they fit yet.
Yeah. I've gotten slightly better at it. In that after living where I live now for a year and a half and becoming more open to having friends in the neighborhood, realizing that I do have like a community around here and getting to know people. There's a lot of benefit in like good social interactions. I think it's really how close and how open am I to you about the real like inner workings of my brain and what I really want to be doing. Like play dates, cool, let's do it. We can chat. You really want to know what I think about this world? It's probably not the best time to do this right now.
Right. It's are you buckled up? Do we have 4 hours? Do we have a long enough time?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things that I imagine you would say, just in conversations that we've had privately, or we had the opportunity to have more time together, and things that I'm very comfortable saying, are things that frankly require context, and they require further explanation.
Yeah, I think so many, like, if I'm talking to you, I don't need to know the ways you've been slaughtered in your business and kicked and beaten, but the fact that you've been doing it for multiple decades or 15 years or whatever it is, I know that you've been through it.
Oh,
I know that you've had your personal and your business and all of it combined together. And then at some point, someone just chopped your knees out from under you. And then the next day you woke up and you were like, oh man, I don't even know where the hell I'm going to go, but I guess I'll just start doing something. And this is my skill set, and I'm going to keep going because that's what I'm supposed to do. And I think that, I've actually not just in business, but in nutrition and in training and all this stuff have really in the last maybe 6 months, 8 months, something like that. Really been able to like focus on the people that have been around a long time and put a lot of value in that longevity. And when you're a trainer for the first 5 years, you're like just trying to get your name out there somehow. You're just trying to be seen. You're doing all the tactics without the soul, and you're fighting, and it's great. But along in that fight, you're learning that like there's a deeper level, and then you at some point fill the bag of that soul and that hard work and that respect and your own reputation, and that bag gets a lot more full than the tactics bag. And you start to just see people that are playing the tactics game, and you go, wow, I don't have time for that.
100%.
Like you got to call me when you're 15 years into this thing and you've gone through some real struggles and someone's really challenged you. And like, now it's kind of like when you get kicked, you go, oh, well, I got a family and I got a daughter and I got bills and I got a house. And you're like, man, there's real things. It's no longer just Anders, the bachelor living at the beach that if he goes broke tomorrow, who cares? It's like, now there's real things that have to happen.
The difference now though, too, is when you get kicked, you've been conditioned to it. So it doesn't hurt the way it did the first time.
Oh, yeah. You just go, oh, that's another one.
Right. So
totally.
I want to pivot a little bit, because I think that your unique experiences, right, both in the fitness space and just in the entrepreneurial space and in life, make you uniquely qualified to do very few things, but to do those very few things extraordinarily well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I don't mean to minimize.
Totally.
I hope that I'm not minimizing your value. I actually think that is a greater representation of somebody's value than to be able to do a lot of things okay. But so what are you spending your time and energy on being world-class at right now? I mean, like to tie this to the last podcast, how are you getting closer to being on stage in front of 10,000 people with lighters out?
Yeah, I am. Well, first off, my unique thing that you're referencing, I personally believe is, I think that I make training more fun than anybody else, in that I'm not Mr. Science that's going to tell you you're right and wrong because some study said I was right and you were wrong.
Right.
I've been at this long enough in a way to know that like all of it kind of works. And if you really wanted me to just play devil's advocate to everything you're doing, I could create some sort of way in which there's an athlete that proves everything you're doing wrong. Specifically of someone going, well, I really like doing this, and if I do this consistently, it'll probably just work. Mm-hmm. I'm not a world-class athlete by any means. So if you are purely looking to follow Rich Froning's training programs, you should go follow Rich Froning's training program. I'm not, I've never been, the thing that I'm the best at is when you walk in the gym, it is going to be so much fun. And I want that just passion for having fun to be the thing that guides your journey through living a stronger, healthier life. And the people that you're going to meet in the gym, the people I've met in the gym, my experiences, it's all love. It's all love when I walk in the gym. And the biggest problem that I see with people achieving whatever it is they're looking to achieve is they're searching for some end goal, which is much more shallow than just being around people they love and enjoying what they do and going through the process of having fun while they're in the gym trying to get a little bit better. And none of that's been tested more than now for me, because I don't have any goals. Like, my goal is just to be the diesel dad. Like, I just want my daughter to know that her dad works really hard in the garage and he lifts weights. And I want her to know that I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. And the first thing I do is I go to the gym and I lift a little bit of weight, and then I work, and she sees me working, and she sees me doing what I do. Like, I don't want to like clean 315 ever again. I don't want to squat 400 ever. It's interesting to not have goals in an industry that prides itself on saying this is the goal and this is success. And I want people to know that fun is the goal and filling the room with love is the goal. And if you do enough of that, you will be surrounded by enough people that love you back, that it will create a fulfilling life. And I just happen to perform that task inside places called gyms. And I see the biggest issues with people starting, people being consistent, people just doing this for years or decades on end, is that they lose fun because they're like, well, what's the next goal? What's the next this? You go, there is no next this. You can have those next thises. You can have that goal. You can want to go run a Spartan race. You can want to go do all that. But along the way, those are just fun pieces. Those are like little highlight reels. But the majority of it should be that you're just showing up to spend some time with yourself, do a systems check, make sure your body's functioning well, lift a little bit of weight, get healthier, and having fun and spending time with people that you love.
So where does that lead you in business?
Right now, it has led us into the largest retailer in the world, into Walmart, into the most So you're opening gyms in Walmart? That's exactly what we're doing.
Are you gonna?
Where
are you gonna?
Where that has gotten me, I can lay out the timeline and where that methodology of what I'm talking about has gotten me. And that
I would love to hear that.
When I was training with John Cena, my goal was to make sure that every time he walked in the gym, it was the best experience of his life. And for 4 years, it was. And building that trust and having him know that whenever I showed up, it was going to be awesome, allowed him to invest in become a partner in a company called FitOps, the FitOps Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization for military veterans with PTSD that are transitioning from the military into the civilian world and want to get a job in fitness, and providing them with a certification and a 12-month or a 12-week program. So they do it in person for 3 weeks. There's an 8-week lead up. And then in the last week of the class, they graduate. And then as a part of that, they're doing the behavioral health, the mental health, how to coach, how to build a business, and all the skills. And because Cena became an investor and partner in that business, they were looking for fitness people to show up and kind of guide these military vets and just provide some real life knowledge of what it's like in the fitness industry. And I got invited down to speak. And while I was speaking, and while I was down there, we brought the microphones and I listened to 7 people lay out some of the most just gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching, insane stories of what PTSD really is and how it's affected their lives. And just real trauma that I've never been a part of and never really faced in my life. And by the time it was time for me to give my talk, 2.5 days and 7 shows deep into listening to these stories and spending, multiple days with these vets, unable to, and this is the talk that basically we laid out in the last time I was on your show. I was unable to give that talk in the way that I normally give that talk, which is I like to think is like a very inspiring and loving way to go about it. Instead, I stood up there and cried a lot. And I had been moved to a place in which I was unable to just be inspiring because it felt too shallow to tell them that it was going to be great. And what I had to tell them was that it was going to be hard and that it was going to challenge them. And I get emotional just thinking about those people because they're incredible. And the fact that I know it's hard and that what they're struggling with right now is only going to get harder. But if they can find a way to create their own superhero and use that hard to be the story that inspires other people, is the only way that they're going to be able to make it. And they have to start viewing their PTSD and the way that they experience their life, not in a way in which they suffer from it, but they're amazing people because of it. And the only way that they would be able to do that is to transition the way that they spend their attention, the people that they're around, that they start feeling like that everybody in the room loves them back. And and that in order for them to truly make it, they had to really start viewing themselves as the thing that made them so successful in the military, which was some unbreakable person that could go do anything. And while giving that talk and while basically pouring my heart out to them about how they could make it in this industry, the global buyer from Walmart and performance nutrition was in the audience. And I had no idea. We got done, and as meatheads always do, we have to go max out a bunch of lifts on
Of course
Friday night. So I went from like this super emotional state to now we got to go lift weights and we're going to go max out. And I didn't know who this guy was at all. But he buys all the supplement. He's he runs the performance nutrition section in Walmart and for all of the Walmarts in the world. And Walmart.com. And we spent 90 minutes sharing a barbell and lifting a bunch of weights and having a bunch of fun. And after we got done lifting, he was like, I just was like, hey, what do you do around here? Like, you live here, but what the hell? Like, how do you have a family? There's nothing but woods in Northwest Arkansas. And he was like, oh, well, I'm the global buyer for performance nutrition at Walmart. I went, oh, well, why don't you have training programs sitting next to the protein? It makes so much sense that somebody would want to have a really good training program if they were buying protein, and having them right next to each other seems like a really obvious thing, which doesn't exist right now. He said, well, you should write those programs and figure out how we can get them on the shelves. So 8 months later, after a lot of work, we launched in Walmart in 20 stores in SoCal, San Diego, LA, Palm Springs, and Vegas, and on Walmart.com in 3 weeks.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I love the story of how you got to that because, well, first of all, it's a really awesome story. The other thing about it that I really love is I don't know if you get the opportunity, if you don't put yourself out there in a real, honest and raw way. You know, if you go up there and you're like, rah, everything's going to be great, and it comes across superficial, you might not end up sharing a barbell with the global buyer for Walmart. And then if you say no to that opportunity, the barbell opportunity, you might end up not forging that relationship and being able to have that conversation. And when it came, you shot your shot.
Yeah. I think sometimes people think that all this stuff, like how many times did something really, really cool happen to you where it just seemed like it was the obvious next step, even though it was something just incredibly life-changing?
All the time.
Because you put in so much work into something. Like, there's no way 27-year-old Anders that just opened his gym would be able to be on. I would have been trying to be the most alpha in the room, so everybody thought I was the coolest, instead of how do I make this room better by just bringing that energy.
I had two experiences like that in the last week. Amazing. Both having to do with our business. And we're in the infancy stages of these new relationships that we're forging with it. But all of what you're describing is exactly how it happened. It was, I wanted these things, the things that are coming our way now, these relationships, these people in my life. I wanted those things 10 years before I would have been ready to do anything valuable with them.
Yeah.
And you just do the thing every day. And ultimately, if you do the thing right and you have an eye on the prize, there's a moment of inflection in all of it. At least that's been the way it's worked for me, where I'm like, that's how this happens? This stupid email is how this happens? Really?
Yeah.
And it's cool.
It's really strange. Like if you were to have, like, one, I had no here's all the things that actually were going on that allowed me to realize that this was an opportunity that just happened in me, just randomly saying it. I'm increasingly not annoyed, but aware that social media is not for me. In that it's very addicting. It's very distracting. I, in general, don't think it aligns with who I want to be as a dad or as a husband. And I personally do not find myself capable of just like cutting it off. I'm sure if there are people that do, but as many times as I'd like to say I'm better than it, I'm not. And I will find myself distracted on my phone when I should be doing dad stuff and husband stuff. And that it's not aligned with who I would like to be. So I've been very much seeking out a distribution channel in which I don't have to be cool on Instagram. The other thing that has been super on my mind for multiple years is realizing how overwhelmingly obvious and just irritating it is that we all are fighting for the same space over the same goal in the same small group of people. This top 2% of people that are already lifting weights. We're not, we're all doing it through online. We're all putting our lead magnets out. We're all paying Facebook to get our stuff in front of people. That's just the game that everyone is playing. And if everyone's playing that game's beat. Not that you can't make money in it, but there's a different way to go about it. And where are there a lot of people that need help that nobody is talking to? Like nobody is talking to. Like they don't even have a product to buy to help them. Walmart. There's not a single fitness program in the 50 billion square foot facility that they have that has 100 billion products in it. Not one way for somebody to come in there and say, how do I get in shape? And find a training program.
So okay. If you couldn't tell, that was my brain trying to decide which question to ask first.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
I love it.
So are your fitness programs that they're buying, are they going in and effectively buying a gift card, coming home and loading it onto the computer? How does that work?
That's exactly what they're buying. And that's the way that we're able to get the price point down to $9.48. If we publish a book, it has to be $25.
Right. So they're basically,
and it has to,
so they're buying an online product with a tangible item to walk out of the store with so that they can go home and now upload it or enroll in the course online with the product they already bought.
Yeah. So somebody's going to be able to walk in to the performance nutrition section, go to the protein section of your Walmart. There's a display with 3 cards on it. On the left is the fat loss program. which is done with no equipment. So it's all body weight movements for people that are interested in a little bit higher level conditioning with strength training. There is a conditioning program which actually starts out with walking as the goal and incrementally increasing the distance and then incrementally increasing the time, and you can scale that up and down, and it's like written in there on how to scale it up and down. So if you are already part of a running program, you can increase your cardiovascular endurance and go the running route, or if this is step one and you're just trying to lose some weight and just be more active, the next it starts with walking. And then we have a strength program to go along with that as well, which is actually in a gym using equipment. And it's a real strength program.
What is it called? If someone walks into the Walmart and they want to buy one, what are they? I mean, obviously if they're looking for it, they're going to find it because there's only going to be one.
Yeah.
If they're in Southern California, but what is it going to be called?
The program is called, for the fat loss, it's called Burn. For the conditioning program, it's called cardio, and for the muscle gain program, it's called strength.
Is it a Barbell Shrugged product? Is it an Anders Varner product? What is the company?
Oh, it's a Barbell Shrugged product. Very cool. Doug wrote the programs. So not only are they not buying, janky waist trimmers and all that, but there's real exercise science. There's somebody that's writing the programs that has decades of experience writing strength programs. Like, one of the things I'm the most proud of in this partnership is that Walmart wants somebody that's bringing real life strength training. Like, how many times have you walked in or seen an infomercial or gone somewhere and you go, they're just feeding them this crap and no one here knows, but and now for the first time, I know they're not feeding them crap. I know the guy's been listening to our show for 8 years. I talked to a pharmacist yesterday that said as soon as this guy took over, the products on the shelves radically shifted. Good. It's all high quality products. It's all like the culture of Walmart it is moving the Titanic, as we heard so many times last week while we were down there. But there isn't a CEO in this country. There isn't a Walmart store manager, like the big store, not a section manager, but the guy that runs each store, or the girl, whoever it is, that isn't in a CrossFit class, that doesn't have a personal trainer, that isn't consuming quality information, that isn't having good relationships. You don't get to that level in a business without being healthy, without walking into a gym, without having a good conversation about high quality training, without having a conversation about what to eat.
It's crazy.
High quality protein.
Right? Isn't it crazy?
And then it's impossible. In 2020, it's impossible. You can't be that smart to run a Walmart store and not be smart enough to take care of your body.
That's good.
So what happens is you live this life that you're living to get you to where you are, and then you walk into your store and your store is no longer aligned with the values that you have built your life of success around. And now Walmart is making a massive push, and we saw store number one and what it looks like towards reshifting that culture from changing everything being about rolling back prices and how much money they can save, to the tagline being about save more, live better. And that live better part is resulting in better products being on the shelves. The store that we were at has a personal trainer in a Walmart clinic in which he is teaching people how to sit down and stand up on chairs. That's so cool. He is the first line of defense in the Walmart clinic. They've got a section actually in the clinic. We were in, it was like part of the big filming process we did, in which they have an actual room in which he is running group fitness classes to people that just wouldn't have access. He charges $125 a month to write training programs for these people to do. So he's like the Walmart personal trainer.
That's great.
And then in the pharmacy, we are like the next line in which we're already working with pharmacists to get the word out about the programs. I talked to one yesterday. I have a call later today with a regional manager. I'm going to be on the group, the weekly call next week to get the education out about what these programs are, what our goals are to help people. And it's interesting because I've spent my whole life trying to add 10 pounds to people's deadlifts. And that's like the measure of success for so many people that pay attention to me or are listening to Barbell Shrugged. And just as every forgotten about group, I want, in a way, it's not like I'm ever getting away from being a strength coach, but how do I take the thing that I feel like I'm the best at, which is making training fun and having people really enjoy the process and getting into the gym and bringing it to people that may be at step 1, maybe at step 2, maybe they're at step 3 and they're ready to like really get on a real program. But the number of people that are taking their deadlift from 315 to 335.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And we get to go do real work and meet people. Like one day someone's going to like here's the tying it together and reading The Alchemist right now to my daughters. There's a part in there where he talks about when you open the door and you jump into the river, you don't know what happens downstream. You just know you're along for the ride. And I know that somewhere along the ride, I am going to meet somebody that's a dad or a mom, and they're going to go, "Hey, I did your program, and it really helped me like get out of type 2 diabetes, or it helped me kickstart having a conversation with my kids, or my kids saw me working out because I've helped enough people with their deadlifts." So how do I take the platform that we have at Barbell Shrugged and change the words from making you stronger and the vision to being like just pure strength coaches to how do we take this platform and create as much impact as possible and meet the people that are really the most trusted sources in the pharmacists in those sections and educate them on why the answer isn't eliminating doctors and eliminating medicine, but how do we combine fitness and medicine so that maybe we can go from 100% medicine and 0% fitness to maybe 50-50, and how much of a win that would be. How much of a win would it be if we could half the amount of medicine, but go from 0 to 50% on the fitness side and the nutrition side? And what would that do? Like, I'm not Mr. We're going to go solve the world, all the world's problems. But man, 42%, if you just walk through an airport
I don't even want to think
and
about it.
see what obesity looks like, it's gross. Like, I'm not here saying like these 3 programs are going to come in and just wipe obesity out. There's a lot of issues in there, but there's something wrong.
We need to start. And I think that you guys putting this stuff in a place that's so commonplace, that is so accessible is an awesome thing. And I look forward to the next podcast that we do when we talk about how it's going in Walmart and how we've expanded to 200 stores, 2,000 stores.
And that is, I want everyone to know that I don't make any money for a long time.
I believe that.
And I make like $4 a book.
Yeah, they got to sell a lot of them.
Yeah, but they have 5,000 stores. And if I can get the communities that listen to us and pay attention to us to go buy them, because you can buy 4 books for the same price of a book that you would normally buy from me, and give them to your friends and give them to people that need them or are looking for a head start or a stocking stuffer, or do them for yourselves because they're awesome programs. But this is a long-term process for us. It's very true that we're selling a $9 product, and no one has retired and bought their mansion in Ireland on the Caribbean by selling a $4 product, unless we can sell enough of them to get into 40 stores, 100 stores, 1,000 stores, 2,000 stores. When you think about the scale of how we have to grow this thing, it takes a lot of support from people that already listen to us, already like us. And then what I really want to do is just build these stories and the people that are doing the programs as we sell them, and showing the real transformations that can happen. But I don't know. So we opened the door. We're jumping in.
We'll do it again.
It's exciting.
Anders, I appreciate you coming on, man.
I love you, dude. I really appreciate our friendship.
Me too. I feel the same way. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Active Life Podcast. If you did, please be sure to head to wherever you listened to it and give us a quality review, as well as 5 stars if you can spare them. If you want more from us, feel free to follow all of our social media accounts at Active Life Professional, Active Life RX, and Dr. Sean Pastuch on Instagram. Remember, at Active Life, we believe that the healthcare clinic of the future is the gym, and the healthcare provider of the future is the coach. We also believe that future is